The badge says Porsche, but is it? We'll find out this week on Motoring 2003. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm about to do, and that is introduce a Porsche sport utility.
A 5,000-pound Porsche truck with wood trim. 40% of the customers have an SUV, so they have no choice. They've got to get in that market. Well, whatever happened to going down with your ship?
Back in 2002, Porsche dropped a bombshell in the automotive world when it launched a truck. Well, it was an SUV, and it was called the Cayenne. Porsche purists were up in arms. The horror of it. Well, unless you've been living in a cave for the last 15 years, you know that the Cayenne, well, it almost single-handedly saved this company's butt. And today, Porsche builds and sells more SUVs than it does sports cars. But the bottom line is, business is good, no apologies needed. Well, this week we're on the beautiful Greek island of Crete. Hardly a mecca for luxury cars, but the scenery, as you can see, is simply breathtaking. Well, it's this spot that Porsche has chosen for a world launch of its brand new, out-of-the-box, third generation Porsche Cayenne.
It's really was a vehicle that was a game changer for us, and it really allowed us to demonstrate that it was possible to have a vehicle that was a serious off-roader and a vehicle that would answer a lot of people's needs, but that would still be very much like a Porsche.
Definitely changed the Porsche story a little bit, because everybody, even within the company, some guys were very skeptical about this car, but the success proved those guys wrong, because it was a big success from the start, and it opened us the doors to many new markets in the world. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. In total, we sold over 7,000 for Porsche. That's pretty amazing. Our third generation is an absolutely new development. We changed almost everything. We changed the engines, we changed the chassis systems, we changed the cockpit, as you can see, and we changed also the design. We sharpened it, the Porsche design DNA, as we call it. We wanted to make it more like a sports car, more like a 911, if you will.
You know, inside this Cayenne is like sitting inside, well, any other Porsche model, which is a good thing. Now the console, of course, they've gotten rid of all those buttons and switches, which I kind of like. Now it's all touch sensitive. You've got a 12-inch screen, and you know, this vehicle, of course, comes loaded with active and passive safety and rear-wheel steering, all-wheel drive, and the list goes on. But you know, despite all this technology, you know what I really like about this car is that Porsche has kept an analog clock. I know, very simple, but it kind of makes me fuzzy and warm, and I feel like I'm home.
We have 3 completely new developed engines. The base model, the Cayenne, has a 3.0 V6 turbocharged engine with 340 horsepower. The Cayenne S, our second model, has a 2.9 twin turbocharged V6 with 440 horsepower, and our top model, the Cayenne Turbo, has a brand new 4-liter V8 twin turbocharged with 540 horsepower and 770 Newton meters of torque. We have mixed tires, first time in the Cayenne, so the tires on the rear axle are a little bit wider than on the front, and that gives the car even more stability in corners than before.
I wouldn't call it a complete makeover, but the design I really like on this Cayenne is just gives it that edgy look to it. Another thing I like is the lighting system they're using on Porsches today. When a Porsche's coming at you on the highway, you know exactly what it is. But Porsche has also made sure that the lighting system is safe. Example, the rear indicator lights, this is a pet peeve with me, are not red on red, they are amber, the way it should be. And now I'm going to use a word you don't hear very often when it comes to Porsche or even a lot of SUVs, and that is practical. Why? Well, they've increased the cargo space, and believe me, you can throw a ton of your stuff back here.
The brand needs both. I mean, on the one hand side, for the pure sports car enthusiasts, our great two-door sports cars, 911 and all that stuff, and on the other side, for people who need a lot more space and day-to-day usability, we have great SUVs, but there's still Porsche, and you can see that and you can feel that.
It's hard to find anything wrong with this new Cayenne. I mean, on all aspects, it's a big improvement over its predecessor. And you know, it was recently that we checked out the rollout of the 1 millionth Porsche 911. Well, that took about 54 years. The reality is, in a few years, the Cayenne will be the best-selling vehicle for Porsche in its history. It still doesn't sound right, but as I've said before, it's thanks to the Cayenne and the Macan that Porsche can produce at least 22 different flavors of the beloved and iconic 911.